All right, team, we are back for our final cash cow video here. We've got the wing fullbacks and any of those DPP, the dual position guys, with the center. I focused on them in that center video. So yeah, if there's any of those, jump back in and check that one out. Obviously, guys like Seb Chris were spoken about in that one. So let's get into things here. There's definitely plenty of options. We do likely need to grab 2 cashies in this position unless you're going for a gun. So very, very likely we'll have Pap and we'll have Jaden Campbell. I think most people will go that route, but you will obviously need the third, and then you'll need a backup considering Jaden Campbell will be missing in round 2. You could go with just the 3 wing fullbacks and then trade someone in round 2, but I would suggest just to have someone as cover there, in case they obviously make money to start off with in round 1, but also could be a solid option just to plug in and cover Jaden Campbell in that round 2. We're also going to have Ryan Papenhuyzen out in round 4, so just be aware of that as well, that having cover is going to be a good thing in this wing fullback position, whereas in other positions, like the centers, you may not need cover to kickstart things. So, saying all that, let's get to Xavier Coates there at 395. So he has the 28.7 average. He's definitely consistent. He's had the same average over the last 2 seasons, 28.7 and 29 and a bit there. So, look, not too exciting there. I'd see him scoring 30s and the like at some points, but he does score tries and hit 20s, so not someone that we want to get too excited about here. Tane Tuapiki with the Warriors at 388k. He had a 28 average last year, and if injury strikes, he definitely becomes an option, given he has a high 30s average when he does get that opportunity to start in the fullback position. So looking at Chance in that scenario not being there. Khan Pereira at 381. So he had the 27.7 average last year. He did have 4 scores under 5, or 5 and below last year, which is pretty wild, playing 80 minutes. That's definitely the worry at his price there with the buy in round 2 as well. So it'd be very hard to select him and also Jaden Campbell there for sure. He's definitely lightning. It's very, very fast and can have those 40-plus games, but it's usually with doubles. And he'll definitely score plenty of tries. He's likely to be there round 1, but I just don't see the massive upside with Khan Pereira compared to starting with him at 230 last year. Charlie Staines at 359, guys. 26 is the average. He's fighting for that spot. He has the bye round 1, so it's a no from me there in that one. You got Tuapolotu. It looks like he's going to be granted a release, likely. I'm not sure if I've seen anything further on that. So see where he ends up, but really he's a mid-20s plotter and, but didn't get many tries. So, if he goes to a team that he could score plenty of tries, there's injuries there, then definitely someone to have a look at there, guys. If you haven't looked at the private group, either team, all the details are in the description, obviously, but also the Discord has everything there as well in the announcement section. So jump in there. We've got sort of 3 weeks left to get in and around that one before we close it up, ready for round 1. Super excited for that. Plenty of prizes up for grabs, all the competitions and all the help in there from awesome Supercoach and fantasy players there. All right, Ken Mamalo, averaged 28 and 32 in 2022 and 2021. But really, I just think you've got to watch him first in this better Titan side. And again, the buy in round 2 is pretty tough there for sure. Xavier Savage at 350, the first one of importance in our, in what we're looking at here. So it does sound like, from what Ricky's saying, it's a little bit of an attitude thing with Xavier. Paraphrased here, but the spot is there if he wants to work for it, is what Ricky said. So he's fighting for it with Chevy Stewart, and he did say that Chevy likely to play NRL at some stage this year, whatever that means. It likely means later, I would say, and Xavier definitely could have first crack. And at 350k, he provides us with a little bit of value for sure. He played wing in Cup last year, so after getting his jaw broken in, then he ended up playing wing for the most part with Chevy Stewart playing fullback in Cup. So it's very, very interesting. He definitely has the upside. And we'll go and look at the stats of Savage and also Monroe now. So with Xavier, you're looking at games where he's played at fullback, which is what we want to be looking for there in that one. They're all 65 minutes plus, which is good. And he averages 37.6. And that's in a couple of games in 21. Where he hit a 73 in his last game in round 25. In round 18 there. And in 2022, he was fairly solid at that. So a low there of 23 in that first 10 games before he had a 17. So really, when you're looking at this position, you want to avoid any scores really in sort of that under 15 mark. which he can do just because he has big run meters, 170 at that, and his tackle break numbers are at 2.8. So he could definitely increase on that for sure. He had a 9 in that 2021 game when he got 73, but outside of that, his highest was 5. So there's definitely some room for improvement on that consistently. And he only scored five tries in that season there for him, with a decent amount of try assists as well, and a couple of try savers at that. So look, for him, there's definitely an ability just to hit that price there, hit that 37. If you do take out that 2021 game where he absolutely dominated there and go to 2022, then it's a 35.6, which is still 10 points of value. So if he's in that fullback slot coming into round 1, I do think the majority of people will jump on him. Their draw isn't too bad either. Obviously, Newcastle could be anything to start the season. We've got the Tigers in there in round 2 for their first game of the season. Warriors, Sharks, Para, Titans before Broncos. So it's solid, and we know that these runners, you saw like Hayes Perham last year, did pretty well in that fullback position for the Dogs, even though they weren't great, just because he was a good runner of the footy and was able to get tackle breaks and meters gained. And that's where Savage is going to get his bread buttered, that's for sure. So let's move to Tyran Monroe as well. He only played the few games, but we'll get into him here before we talk about him in the Word doc. But a 27 at centre before a 50 on the wing there in round 19 against the Dogs with a double, and then a 23 against the Sharkies. So you're looking at that centre effort there. It's a try and a try assist with 2 line breaks there, which is not great. So he had no tackle breaks, 84 meters gained, and only the 1 tackle. So I believe he surely ended up on the wing in that one. There's no notes on that, but any Bunnies fans, let me know what happened in that one. I believe he would have ended up on the wing. And then, the 50 with a double and 3 line breaks there, obviously, with 3 tackle breaks in that one. And then good meters in the last one at 169, but 5 errors. And he's obviously very, very raw. Plenty of talent about Monroe. I would much rather be picking Xavier Savage at fullback in my side than I would be Tyran Monroe. The chat with him, though, unfortunately, is that, after Whiten comes back in round 3, that he will go back and likely play fullback at Cup for a little bit longer, or the wing, not sure exactly, but with Tass being a little bit more of a veteran in this side compared to Monroe, I think there's a higher chance he moves to that wing spot and Monroe gets moved out of the side. So there's very, very high likelihood that you'll see Monroe named on the wing in round 1, but it could be a trap because he is a good chance he ends up back in New South Wales Cup with Tass moving to the wing, with Whiten moving into that centre position. So if it was a 250k, I probably wouldn't worry about it too much and give it take a punt on it. But that extra 100k is concerning, just with a good chance that he could be moved back, obviously, to Cup. The 33.3 average has 3 tries in it as well across those 3 games. So, if he was to average that amount, then he only makes a little bit of cash. And with that risk of him losing his spot, I think that, there's probably enough just to have him on the watch list and leave him out. But he definitely is a young, improving player. He moved through all the grades last season, all the junior grades. He's so young. Definitely some improvement to come. And if there's an injury in there somewhere, I think that he could find himself in a lot of sides. Gerald Skelton, he had a really, really nice start to his career, really, in a dog side that struggled a little bit. He kind of improved each and every game. So plenty of talent. He's still learning his footy, obviously, there as well. But has the running game to easily be a 30s guy, but unlikely to get a spot. So, plenty of games there where he hit good run meters well over the 100-meter mark. But I just don't think he gets the spot at this point. He's probably in the extended squad. And, if he manages to fight his way into the side at some point, we will talk about him further. Tamalo Vega from the Eagles as well. So he is fighting for a spot. I don't know if he gets it at this point, but 342k average of 25. It's really not nice stats to be looking at for him, with 2 tries and 4 line breaks from the 7 games, averaging 25. So I think we leave him for now, that's for sure. Tommy Chester with the Cows, 337k, average 24.5. He is back running, which is good, but he's likely not to be back for the first bunch of rounds there. I absolutely loved him last season, brought him in for a nice 3-week play. For me, he averaged close to 40, I think, in that time, 38 or something like that, which was great, and was one of the guys that was really having a crack. So Tommy Chester, if anything happens to Drinky mid-season, we'll look at Chester. Blake Taff, Another one we'll look at in the footy stats there, but at 330k, there is a fair bit of chatter around about him starting at fullback, with Crichton sort of not been training the last bunch of weeks. There's talk that he ends up in the centres, and if he does, we do have to look at Taf for sure. He was an interesting one last year. I brought him in for a few weeks at the back end, and he ended up picking up a 60-odd for me, and I probably shouldn't have got that lucky on him because most of his scores, I was hoping for mid-30s, and it ended up, he ended up averaging way better than that. But it's a scary one, that's for sure. And at the Dogs, that was at the Bunnies. So at the Dogs, what is it likely that he averages? And we'll have a look in a sec. But I don't see him sort of being a great pick. What's the likelihood? I don't really see him averaging anywhere above that 30 mark. It's likely to be somewhere in the 25 to 30 range with some random big games like you saw. He needs the goal kicking, which he shouldn't get. Obviously, if Crichton's there, if Burton's there, who's their main kicker, in a worse team now, he got a 29 average at fullback as well. So yeah, it's not great. Even if 5 points of value there, got him in his fullback positional games there, and he averaged that 29.6, and there's a decent amount of tries in there at 6 there, and plenty of goals in that, averaging 3 goals a game. So if you take out the goals, which he's unlikely to goal kick, he's a 23 guy, and I just think you can leave him out of your side very, very easily. Make sure, guys, you do subscribe. I would appreciate that. We're getting close to that 10k mark. Thank you for watching each and every video for those that are here and have been here all preseason. Ed Cossey, he's an avoider there at 323k. Unlikely to get the spot. If he does, it's not really someone we want anyway. Maxi, I believe. Maxi Fagai. Not sure. I think Matty's cheaper. Anyway, still learning his trade there at the Dragons. The team isn't good enough. He's too volatile. It's probably unlikely he gets a spot there. There's some chatter around sort of Lomax being on the wing and switching between, with Bird being in the centres with Sully, and then him switching between fullback and wing there with Sloan. So I don't think Fagai gets the spot there. Bostock, next guy on the list. So 307k, average of 22.3 last year. That doesn't spell, cracking scores, that's for sure. But there is talk that he's locked up that wing spot at the Dolphins, which surely means that he has improved. There's definitely a fair bit of talent about him, having watched him last year and all the talk through Cup stats. But he definitely isn't a speedster, but a really big body and a good player at that. And scores on the... His scores, on the other hand, not great, to be honest there. A 15 in the first game that he played, a 16 with a try, an 11, and then a 47, where all of them were under 100 meters except the last game where he got some, he was able to make a line break down the sideline there. So you're looking at that there, 15, 16, 11, 47. Tackles are there. Missed tackles aren't too bad, which is cool. So he's making, a few points there in the tackle side of thing, 4 points, which is good. But yeah, the meters gained 93, 80, and 63 with 2, 3, and 1 error, apart from that last game where he kind of had just a really, really good game with no missed tackles, no errors, no penalties in there, and 4 tackle breaks to go along with his line break and try. So expect more of the sort of teens to 20s, I'd say probably mid-20s, and then have the odd game where he goes well. They have a solid start, obviously, with the Cows, Dragons bye into Titans, Tigers. So that's something on his side. He's not based on a price, though, at 307. I think that's a slight worry on his part, for sure, if you were to pick him. And let's just hope that we get like a Chevy Stewart or something, or a Savage that we could pick instead. I think that's going to work out better for our sides than Bostock. But he definitely has the potential and talent to increase on this average that he currently has at 22.3 and have more of a base kind of game if he can get those meters gained up. But we do need to see that, and hopefully that's something that he's been focusing on in the off season. Alrighty, moving along to Leotau. I'm not exactly sure how to say that one, but 300k for him there. The average of 39. He had the one really, really good game last year. He's fighting for a spot, obviously there as well. So he played center in that game. So definitely look to him if he manages to lock up a center position there. I think that he'll obviously get dual position, which would be great, but he'll be a lock in a lot of people's sides at center, given he has that fantasy friendly game, which would be really, really cool. All right, so yeah, just look out for him as on the watch list. Edric Lee, 298 for him, average of 14 last year. Beautiful. He's a 20s to low 30s average type of guy, and given he's priced obviously at that 20 mark there, 20 mark, yeah. At that price, that yeah, it's not great, to be honest with you there. You probably want him at 230, and that gives you a bit more of a chance, but he's also fighting for that wing spot as well at the Dolphins. So someone to watch as well, but it looks like Bostock potentially has it at this point. We'll see in the trials. Robert Darby. I'm excited by this man, for sure. At 298k for the Cowboys there, he is fighting for a wing spot at this point, but they do have a few guys that could take that right wing spot. Given Murray Talangi, very, very high likelihood he'll be on that left sting. That Robert is fighting for it with Valame, with Kyle Felt. So plenty of push and shove for spots there. But if Robert was to get it, I think he's going to be in my team, and he'll be in a lot of teams there as well. So here's a 39 Queensland Cup average. He got that 28 in one game with over 200 meters gained and no attacking stats. So that's just absolutely awesome and exactly what we want, a rangy winger that can score tries. And very, very high likelihood the Cowboys are better from where they are at last year, that's for sure. It sounds like Peyton is saying that they're sort of 3 or 4 weeks ahead of where they were at this point last year, which hopefully gets them off on the front foot there in 2024. But he's definitely someone who's on my watch list, and he should be on yours as well. Keeney with the Titans. So Campbell is well on the way to be playing in round 1. He should be ready for a trial. He's been back in pretty close to full training for a while. It's just that sort of risk of re-injury that might pop up. But Keeney, if Campbell's not there, he could be potentially that guy unless Brimson moves back to 1. There's a few factors there. Campbell and Brimson likely ahead of him. If they were to move Brimson back, they have plenty of center options. But Keeney in there. One big game in round 27 of 44 against the Dogs. He does need that injury, like I'm saying. And he's training with the first squad right now. So something to note. KO Weeks at 252 as the half and the wing fullback duel. I speaking about him in this one rather than the half position, just because I think that it's more relevant to have him in that fullback slot, that's for sure. But the average of 18.3 last year doesn't spell great things. He's obviously very, very talented, the dual position. He has good tackle numbers when he plays in the front line, which is great. So it's hard to leave him out if named a 6, I think for sure. He didn't play awesome last season, but the off season he's had there to make it work and to work hard and get good at that singular position, which he's fighting for that 6 spot. So for me, he's likely to be a starting wing fullback or 18th man if he makes that side. So let's look at his stats now. When he played over 50 minutes there, he has games at fullback, obviously 4 of them where he didn't perform too well in that one. But some good tackle numbers in there as well. So that round 16 game, it just moved. Garrick moved to that spot when he went in the bin. So he has a sin bin game in there, but 12 tackles for 3 misses is solid at the fullback slot. 22 tackles for 3 misses is a good thing to note there. And that was against Panthers in round 6. And just note that he played that 5-8 game, plenty of tackles in that one. They got pumped 44-12. So be aware of that when you're looking to select him, that he can obviously run the footy. He had a 220 meter game there in round 22 in 2022 and round 25. So definitely look to him to have a decent running game, hopefully tackle pretty well, and at a minimum, he can hit a 25-30 on average with some higher games, with some lower games in there. Do expect some 18s and 20s, and then expect some 30s and 40s as well for KO Weeks if he manages to get that spot. And obviously, he's fighting with Ethan Strange at the moment. I think only one of them is going to be in this team. I don't think the other one will get the center spot unless it is for 1 week. So if Weeks was to get 6, they might play Strange as center in that week. They've got Nick Kotrick. They've got a few options there, so we'll see how that plays out. But if Weeks is named to start in round 1, I think he will be in most people's sides. So that's that there. Hayes Dunster at 250k with the Eels there. Low run meters, no tries, average 14. Ugh, yuck. Fighting for the spot, but he's definitely on the watch if he gets it. But they've got options there for sure. Sean Russell likely ahead of him at this point. Kate Dykes, Sean Russell we spoke about in the center video. 250k for Dykes. He's definitely talented. His depth coming off an ACL injury. 14 and 35 when he played at fullback. So wait for injuries on him, and then he could be an option. Iramia with the Storm is there for depth. So is Fino with the Dragons at 250k. Stone Street with the Sharks at 230k now. We're into all those cheaper guys. He's talented depth. We definitely heard a little bit about him, which is nice. But likely behind Dykes as well at this point. Francis, Takamo, Armstrong, Tahau. All depth guys with their respective squads. You've got Chevy Stewart, 39 wing fullback fullback cup average, which is really nice. So a good ball runner at that, Chevy is. And super young, obviously super talented. There's a chance that he's a little bit too young and raw to start at this stage in the fullback position for the Raiders. But if he managed to get that spot, I think everyone's going to have him in their side. Likely starts for us in round 1, unless you were to play a gun fullback or a sort of cheapie or mid-ranger, then Chevy's going to be a cracking option for round 1. It's as simple as that, really. If he's there, you slot him in. Alamalo with the Tigers. So he's a 6'5" New Zealand Union import, which is pretty cool. So think of that with, Skelton came over from Union as well. There's been other guys that have done it in the past. He has lots of talent as well, obviously, and that size is great and probably something the Tigers need, a big, rangy kind of winger for him. Does he get the spot? That's the question mark. And if he's sort of named there in that main trial, the second trial, he's a good chance of being my looper. And he could be the backup guy for that round 2 matchup, which I believe, did I say the Raiders play him? Not sure. In round 2, which would be pretty cool there, that he could come in and play that role and be sort of an upside potential guy. He could score you a 12. He could score us like a 30 or 40. We're not sure. So I'd love to see him in the trials. He's firmly on the watch list, and we'll see how that goes. So to finish off this video, guys, thank you again for watching this one. The Cashies watch list. We've got KO Weeks. I think he's in our sides if he's at 6. Starter or bench in our teams. Chevy Stewart, the 230k starting fullback. Amazing if he gets it. Savage at number 3. I think that he has the clearest upside at the 1 position. Robert Darby, high upside winger. Obviously the good runner of the footy. I think Monroe you probably slot in next. He's got definitely the risk of spot, but if there's an injury, then he has definitely high upside. Blake Taft, probably a little bit less upside, but again, a fullback in an okay team. Hard to say no, but I think without the goals, it's a bit tough to select him. Jack Bostock, I do probably have actually ahead of Taft at this point after talking through this video. It's funny what I can learn myself and the clarity that I can get just from talking to you guys about this. So that's that. But Bostock last there. Likely a wing spot in an improving team. The only one I didn't pop in there was the New Zealand centre that I still can't remember his name, or how to say it properly, Leotau, at 300k. If he was to get the centre spot, he would go firmly up this list and would obviously be in the centre video, most likely in its centre in our teams if he was to get that spot, which would be pretty exciting in a good Warriors side. So I'll definitely slot him in there as well after this video. But thanks again for watching, guys. It's a wing fullback Cashies. Plenty more to come. I will do a value video, guys, a summary on that, and I'll also do a cash cow summary as well in the next sort of week or so. The value one will come out first, and then the Cashies one after probably we know a little bit more, and then the big cash cow Bible video will come out not too far after that, guys. So thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.